usually tell about a person the way they handle themselves at a hotel magazine stand.
Oh.
They buy one, bored. They buy two, lonesome. 3 or more, and no guy has a chance.
Suppose they don't buy any.
Well, in that case,
Next stop, Memphis, remember? Beale Street, barges and bales. South.
what are you gonna do? You run around with a cotton picker, you pick cotton.
Feels like it. Better pull up that front tire. It feels like it's losing air.
Okay.
Why don't I stick with the car and you go get us some hamburgers? Why don't you stick with the car and I go get us some hamburgers?
I like your thinking.
Wheeler's just 2 blocks down and half a block over.
Ever open her up all the way? Hey, come on, Pete, we're gonna catch it. Okay.
You guys been to a big poker game?
Nah, crummy movie. I don't guess you're gonna be in town very long.
About an hour.
Hey, Pete. I'll give you a nickel if you take me for a ride.
I'll keep it in mind for when I need a nickel.
Well, so long.
So long.
Stop it! Come on! Give me this! All right, you've had your fun. Now give me it. Come on, come on, give me it. Come on.
with super sport fun in 4 different kinds of new cars, presents Route 66.
We were just going in a Wheelers for a sandwich when this tramp tried to put the squeeze on us for a drink. We tried to brush him off politely and he got mean.
Yeah, he got mean with 3 guys half his age.
You two together?
No, I just didn't like the odds. They took my duffel bag, then they scattered my clothes all over the sidewalk. I tried to stop.
How about it, Johnny?
Dad, Mike told you what happened.
You two better come along with me.
Just a minute, Whit. Miss Jackson, you saw the fight start, didn't you?
All he did was try and protect himself.
You want to press charges?
Look, we were just having a little fun.
I'm sorry, Mr.
McNeil.
I apologize for my son and the others.
How about it? You want to press charges?
Putting him in jail won't change anything.
Thanks, McNeil. Come on.
Andy Ferguson.
Hi.
Tod Stiles. Don't judge us by what happened tonight. We're really a very hospitable little town. Why don't you stay around a little bit and let us prove it? How about it, McNeil? Either of you want a job, stop by the personnel office at Midland Rubber tomorrow. I'll tell them to expect you.
I'm an outside man.
Yard work?
Yeah.
Well, my home address is on there, too. Why don't you come by late tomorrow afternoon? Good night.
Good night.
So long.
Can I buy you a hamburger and a cup of coffee?
Oh, thanks.
It isn't a handout.
Now look, just because you happen to be on my side.
Relax, huh?
Maybe you just like to fight. But I'd take the time to find out who's right or who's wrong before I got in there and started swinging. You know, those kids may have been telling the truth. Where you heading?
Memphis. Nothing definite.
Well, one town's as good or as bad as another. But they all have one thing in common. Scared people.
Scared, not scared. Good or bad. People.
You stay in the same place long enough, you get scared.
Been on the road long?
Yeah, quite a few years.
You must have seen everything twice.
Yeah, I covered a lot of ground.
Like the life?
Works for me. Thanks for helping me.
That's okay. You'd have probably done the same for me.
I doubt it.
Funny thing happened to me on the way to the restaurant.
There was this gorgeous blonde. Gorgeous redhead. Ugly brunette.
You know that big hurry I was in to get to Memphis? Well, I'm not in such a hurry anymore.
That funny thing that happened to you on the way to the restaurant?
Who knows when you'll get another chance to work in a rubber processing plant?
Maybe never.
promised me a ride.
Oh, well, that's a promise my friend won't be able to keep for about a week. But I might be open to the same offer. Well, the first one's always on the house. My friend's the greedy one. That's why I took a job turning out the product at 85 per, and he hit the road selling the product at 110 per. So, inasmuch as I'm making less than he is this week, you can keep a nickel.
Go ahead, Dad. I got a ride.
Okay, son. I'll see you at the house.
If your friend stays on the road, who's going to take his place?
Do you have anybody in mind?
You need a navigator.
Oh, well, good navigators are hard to come by.
I learned navigation years ago. Next month, I get out of school for the whole summer.
Well, maybe we can do some navigating then.
Oh, please, Mr. Stiles, don't humor me. I'm the man for the job. I'm qualified. I'm building a rocket. Solid fuel. Only I'm going to skip the moon. I'm going for deep space. I've got everything figured out, except the outer skin problem. You see, I want this at least 5,000 G's acceleration.
What's your outer skin problem?
Nobody's come up with a metal yet that won't burn out at the speed I want. You know, Mr. Stiles, some nights I just stay awake, just thinking and thinking about re-entry problems. Because my rocket has to be the biggest in the world. Because I have to take Mommy, and I have to take Dad, and my dogs, and Mabel.
Mabel's a good idea. A smart boy like you that can build a rocket ship, he ought to have his girlfriend along.
Mabel's not my girlfriend. She's Mommy's housekeeper. Mommy always says she can do without Daddy and me, but she can never do without Mabel. Do you like to hunt ducks?
Uh-huh.
Hi, Mr. Ferguson. Where's Pete?
He's out riding a shooting star.
Huh?
Don't worry, he'll explain it all. Well, the yard's looking great.
Thanks, Mr. Ferguson.
How's the warehouse working out for you?
Well, it's a place to sleep.
Well, you'll be wanting to find a room before cold weather.
Well, I don't want to get too comfortable.
Mr. Case?
Most of the boys would already be planted in the chair.
I'm used to standing.
So take a load off. Plant. Link case, Midland Processing. Hot water bottles and ice bags. Check.
And foot warmers. Everything from head to toe.
What do you say?
Sir?
I know Harrison, your sales manager. He doesn't send out green kids. Unless... Yeah, that's it. A whole new style. That Harrison, he finally got the picture.
Frankly, Mr. Horst, this is sort of new to me. There were only 2 jobs open at Midland. One in the plant and one on the road. My buddy and I, we flipped a coin. I'm heads.
You know, Linc, I might as well get down to first names. I'm Jim. Harrison's been after me for 6 years now, trying to land a big order. See, I buy for a chain. Well, 1,000 gross. For me, that's nothing to order. But Harrison's been sending in these clucks. You know, Linc? Guys who drag their whole lives behind them. Broken down types, no style. Well, they come in here and try and get your sympathy. I don't buy out of pity. That Harrison, he finally sees the light. Sends in a bright young fellow with a whole lifetime ahead of him. See, that's smart thinking. Makes me feel young. Not that I'm old, but, you been in town long?
Just today.
A young fellow like you, that doesn't make much difference. See what I mean? All you have to do is walk down the main street or pull up a stool at a bar. Yes, sir. Young fellow like you, that's where the action is.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Mr. Horst, but I had lunch and came over here, and I've been sitting in your outer office since 2 o'clock rehearsing my sales pitch. How do you convince anybody that your ice bag is better than somebody else's?
Yes, sir, you're the first young salesman that's come in here in months. I can see, Linc, you got get up and go. So, let's us get up and go, Let's go find the action.
Well, how are things going at the plant?
Pretty well. I think I'm beginning to earn the money you're paying me.
Well, with your background in education, it'd be worth a lot to the company if you decided to stay on. Guess you've heard this before.
Well, that's the sort of thing you don't mind hearing every hour on the hour.
You know, I used to have that restless feeling. Carried to its logical or illogical conclusion, it comes up Emmett McNeil. You know, people like you, Tod. And what more does anyone have a right to expect than a good job and pleasant surroundings? I'm not pressuring. I just wanted you to know in case you're ready for something permanent. Well, how did you do?
Johnny got 2, Dad.
What's the matter with Don?
I'm not feeling too good, Andy. I think he's got a fever.
Well, let's get him into your car, George.
Hello, buddy. How are things at the executive sales level? Are you making any contacts? Oh, just sales contacts. That's too bad. No, there's no action here. I'm already in my pajamas, ready to curl up with a good book. The man. Huh? Oh, I think we have a bad connection. Oh, no. I wouldn't come down for the weekend. It's that dead, huh? That's too bad. Well, I'll tell you what I do. If something comes up here, well, I'll find out where you are from the girl in the office, and I'll give you a call, but I wouldn't count on it. Yeah. Good night, buddy. Come in.
I'll have to ask you to come with me, Stiles.
Well, what does that mean?
It means I got orders.
Just like that? Why?
Why don't you wait till you get there? They'll tell you why.
Do you know what this is all about?
Scared people.
Scared of what?
Strangers. You and me.
Why the hospital?
Pick up you guys too?
Yeah. They tell you why?
I'm only stuck in this burg because my truck broke down. I was doing El Paso 3 days ago.
All right, you first.
For what?
My instructions are to run a blood test on each of you.
You know, I don't hand out free samples unless I know why.
Come on, you guys. The sooner you give them what they want, the sooner we can get out of here.
Do what you like with your blood, just don't get generous with mine.
What makes you special?
Who ordered us brought here?
All I know is I'm supposed to get 3 samples.
Yeah, well, when we get answers, you'll get samples.
I'm ready.
Well, this is a switch. They usually take me to jail.
Mr. Ferguson, what's going on here?
Todd, they brought Don in this afternoon. Now Pete's sick.
In here, McNeil.
Not me.
Please, Mr. McNeil.
You heard him. Kids are sick.
All I heard was in here, McNeil.
We're wasting time.
Now look, there are 2 ways you can get my blood. You can tell me what this is all about, and I mean really tell me. Or you can drag me in there and hold me down and take it by force. But I'm warning you, you're going to need 2 men.
What we face is a possible epidemic. A rare type of sleeping sickness. First Don Simmons, now Pete Ferguson. Outside of a case or 2 in Texas, I've never heard of this anywhere else in the United States.
You think one of us brought it in?
Somebody brought it in. The truck driver comes from El Paso. How about you, Mr. McNeil?
I was working in Texas.
Andy!
It was the tramp, wasn't it?
The doctor's just starting the tests.
Oh, Andy, what have we done? Giving that tramp a job in this town?
We don't know it's McNeil.
In this day and age, nobody has to live the way he does. Nobody. Unless there's a reason for it. A very good reason.
It may not be any one of the 3.
It came from outside.
Her name is Mary. Did you see the way she looked at you? One of those long lashes of hers every time she passed. Are you just married or something?
No.
I lived in this town 20 years. A man in my position, he can't afford to take any chances. My wife's old man. He's a mayor. But if anybody sees me out with a salesman, well, that's all in the line of business. See what I mean? They say, Mary's got a sister, a real honey bear. They live out at the edge of town all by themselves. Well, of course, I've never been out there. Man just can't walk out and knock on the door now, can he? Did you see that? Ask her what she's doing later.
Suppose she says okay.
Do I gotta draw you a picture? My car's outside, right? I got a couple of bottles in the trunk, so we just amble out to the edge of town and see what Mary's little old sister's doing.
I want you to understand this, Mr. Horst.
Jim.
I want you to understand this, Mr. Horst, for a lot of us. I don't know very much about those ice bags I've been trying to sell you. I happen to think they're pretty good. But even if they were the worst ice bags in the world, that doesn't make any difference. Because I wouldn't sell you a single one, good or bad. See what I mean, Mr. Horst?
When I was a kid, after my mother died, I spent some time in boarding school. One semester, they brought a new boy. He was sick, you know. I mean, when they brought him in. But he didn't know it, and they didn't know it. About 20 of us came down with scarlet fever. The new boy got over it. But 2 of the other kids died. One of them was my best friend.
After that, every day on the ball field, I'd pick a fight with that new kid. But he'd never fight back. So I'd just keep punching him and yelling until they pulled me off him. Finally, he ran away. They found him in a lake. My friend died. I didn't cry at all. But later, when I got to thinking about that boy that drowned, I started crying and I couldn't stop.
In there, strip and get into that. And the rest of you can go. Thanks.
You sure?
It's in your blood.
What does that prove? Couldn't he have picked up the infection here in town just like Pete and Don? Just because he worked in Texas, does that mean something?
So what now?
We'll disinfect his person, his clothes, an old warehouse he's been sleeping in. We'll get a list of the places he's worked, the people he may have exposed.
Pete's in 212 if you'd like to look in later.
Where is he now?
He's with Dr. Glazer.
The only question now is how do we deal with him?
I don't think that's up to us.
So what do? Buy him a new suit of clothes and kiss him goodbye? We can't let him go out and infect kids in the next town. And the one after that.
Chevrolet, in behalf of your local authorized Chevrolet dealer, with 4 different kinds of super sport driving for 63, has brought you the first half of Route 66. Route 66 will continue after station identification.
Do you ever suffer pains in your knee or elbow joints when there's a change in the weather? If you remain in one position for too long, do you get backache or feel cramp-like pains when you move? After strenuous work or exercise, do you suffer from aching in your shoulders, arms, or legs? Most people would answer yes to at least one of these questions. After all, everyday aches and pains are likely to occur in cases like these, when muscles and joints react to an abrupt change in weather or activity. That's why you should always keep Bayer aspirin on hand to relieve these discomforts fast. Just take 2 Bayer tablets and see how quickly Bayer soothes those aching muscles and joints. Remember, whenever you suffer from the common aches and pains that have so many everyday causes, don't wait. Take Bayer aspirin right away and feel better fast. You'll find that Bayer can make living a lot more fun.
Remember my greedy friend? The one who's on the road? I talked to him a little while ago, and he wanted me to be sure and say hello to you. And he said, for another nickel, I could tell you one of his stories. Now, Pete, picture a steaming hot day in one of those little South Texas oil towns. A bunch of kids are just going to explode if they can't cool off. You know, you're lucky. You can just hop on your bike and ride down to the lake. Linc, he didn't have a lake within 100 miles. Unless you call that oil a lake.
What did he do?
Well, picture this hill out at one end of town, leading right smack down onto a dirt road. Picture the carts that Linc and the other kids made out of crates and whatever wheels they could scrounge. You got that? Well, now, on this dirt road in those days, there used to be lumber wagons and ice wagons and such coming by all the time. And right at the crossroads was a big stand of cottonwood trees blocking the view. Well, Linc and the kids used to come tearing down that hill, and they'd see how close they could come to those wagons. That was the idea. Besides, coming down, the breeze was supposed to cool you off.
What if the wagon was coming by?
Well, I asked Linc about that. And he said one summer he was roaring down that hill, and he went right under a wagon. Right between the wheels, you know, just ducked down and came out the other side.
Why?
Yeah. I guess he was about the most famous kid in Lander after that. Linc, he said that he did it to cool off. But I think he did it to prove that when you're a boy, nothing can hurt you. Just like you, Pete. Nothing can hurt you. You're gonna be fine. Cool and fine.
Why don't I feel sick like the kids?
It takes a greater degree of infection to make an adult ill. Or you might have built up some kind of immunity.
Well, when you disinfected my clothes in the warehouse, did you find any ticks?
No.
Whip! Coming to get the press?
Now, George.
You gonna arrest him? Now, we got a right to know.
I've come to find Andy Ferguson.
That bum's not gonna get away with it, Whit.
What are you gonna do, George? Lynch him? I don't see a rope. How are you gonna lynch him without a rope? Andy? They'd have gone in after him if they weren't all a little awed by the hospital. Sooner or later, they'll work up to it. Especially if another child is brought in sick. How's your boy?
No change.
You through with him? You going to arrest me? My orders are to take you into the next town and dump you.
If we don't get him out of town, Todd, there's going to be trouble.
Mr. Ferguson, you're talking about me, and I'm right here, so why not talk to me?
McNeil, this is not an easy situation.
Oh, but you're looking for an easy solution, is that it?
The important thing is to get him out of town without any trouble, right?
Right.
Well, those men in the lobby that saw you come in will be waiting for you to go out with him. Why don't you let me take him out the back way?
I don't know.
No, Whit, that's a good idea.
You'll take him on out of town?
Yeah.
I guess it's all right.
Is it all right with you, Emmett?
Johnny? Go get everybody some coffee.
And how about some hot dogs, soda pop, and paper flags?
Shut up and get the coffee.
Listen, tossing a duffel bag around, having a few laughs, that's one thing. I'm going home.
Logan, get some coffee. This is as far as I'm going.
You can't stay here.
Well, I can try.
Well, why should you?
Well, on the other hand, why shouldn't I?
McNeil, you've got to try and understand these people. They were born inside, cozy and warm in this tight little cocoon of a town, and they've stayed inside, snug and clean and warm, pretending there's nobody and nothing outside. But every once in a while, something from the outside manages to slip in, and they get a good look at some of the cold and dirt and hunger and sickness that's outside, and it scares them. And then they fall all over themselves trying to get rid of whatever it is that's threatening the nice, clean little world.
If you're Andy Ferguson, you try and sneak it out of town. But if you're Simmons, you have to stomp it and smash it.
Now, don't you get involved in this, kid.
Emmett. How's your gin rummy?
Hello? No, operator. If you can't be reached, I'll talk to Mr. Morrison. Hello, Mr. Morrison? Linc case. I'm calling from Martinsdale. Oh? Mr. Horst called you already. I don't know. I guess he doesn't like the way I comb my hair. Let's just say I'm not cut out to be a salesman. Mr. Morrison, I'm going to be leaving in a couple of minutes. Would you tell my buddy Todd Stiles in processing that I'll be in on the 346? I can't seem to raise him. Thank you, sir. Goodbye.
I ran away from another town once, a long time ago. Only there I wasn't a stranger. I was the least important member of the most important family. But I had hopes. It's easy to seem important in a small town, especially when your family happens to run the bank. Oh, sure, I spent a little more than I earned at the bank, drank a little more than I could handle. But everybody was most tolerant. They said, well, give them time. But as it turned out, they didn't. You see, there was this shortage at the bank. Nothing criminal, just bad management, stupidity. But you don't admit this and go on being the leading banker in a small town. Oh. You have to find yourself a scapegoat. And once you pitch your pigeon, you publicly denounce him. And you publicly promise to make good the shortage. And then you privately tell him to clear out, to run, and to keep on running.
Your own family did that to you.
Yeah, my Uncle Mike and my dear, dear brother-in-law Gilbert.
Why'd you let him get away with it?
Well, I was still young enough to be shocked by what decent men will do to save their own hides. And getting away from that bunch of cannibals seemed the most sensible thing to do. Besides, they were shrewd, you know. Sure. They had me boxed and they knew it.
And you've never been back?
No. Once you run, you don't go back. So here I'm staying. Oh, it doesn't really matter whether or not I brought the tick in here. What matters is, whatever they're going to do, this time I've got to face it.
Get out of the way, Andy.
How can you help a bum like that?
I don't know that it was his fault. Even if I did, I couldn't be part of what you're doing.
Nobody asked you to be a part of it.
Well, I would be if I didn't try to stop you. Now, George, if nothing will satisfy you short of beating or killing this man, be ready to kill me, too.
Just when I got the feeling better, you gotta leave.
Yeah, isn't that always the way it is?
I'd sure like to come to Texas sometime when you and Linc are gonna be there.
Linc could show you that old dirt road where the lumber wagons and ice wagons came by. For a nickel. Take it easy, Pete.
You too.
Say, when you get that rocket built, if you need a navigator, you can count on me.
So long, Tod.
So long, Pete.
They found the carrier.
There's your carrier.
Pete's dog, huh?
I had her sent up from Texas for his birthday.
And the ticks came with her.
Whole story will be in the paper tonight.
Well, fine. Send me a copy care of General Delivery in New Orleans.
You are a contrary cuss. You stay when we want you to go and go when we'd like you to stay. Good luck.
Same to you. I'll see you around, Tod.
So long, Emmett. Now, if you're ready to settle down...
Yeah. I'll remember.
Funny thing happened to me on the way to Memphis. Yeah. There was this rubber processing plant. Yeah, I know. They make hot water bottles and ice bags.
Yes, Ethel. Sure, Ethel. Thanks for the advice. Bye. Boy, if there's one thing I get plenty of, it's advice. I wish somebody really knew what to do about irregularity.
Ask your doctor. He knows. Doctors recommend milk of magnesia. Thousands of doctors in personal interviews all over the country were asked, do you ever recommend milk of magnesia? And their answer in an overwhelming majority was yes. You see, milk of magnesia is both a dependable laxative and a soothing antacid. It relieves irregularity and accompanying acid indigestion. No single-purpose laxative can give such complete yet comfortable relief. In fact, general practitioners, obstetricians, pediatricians, even surgeons recommend milk of magnesia for their patients.
I took my doctor's advice, Ethel, and now my irregularity worries are over. Honestly, no household should be without Phillips milk of magnesia.
Regular or mint flavored.
This is Glenn Corbett. Now Martin Milner takes you on a preview of our next Route 66.
We could do this two ways. Right here where we break up the furniture and somebody whistles cop and we all got grief. Or outside nice and quiet where like only one of us has grief.
There's another way. You could just leave.
I don't know what the beef is, but why don't we try and straighten it out? Like tonight at dinner, the three of us, okay?
I hate her.
I don't believe that.
I wish she was never born. Do you hear me? I wish she was dead.
Be with us in Los Angeles for the next episode of Route 66, when Susan Oliver gives a startling performance in Between Hello and Goodbye.
Instant flaking Bayer aspirin and orange-flavored Bayer aspirin for children and Phillips Milk of Magnesia, the complete antacid laxative, have brought you this portion of Route 66.
Screen Gems film presentation, Herbert B. Leonard, executive producer.